Something shifted in Chicago this week, and I'm not talking about the weather. The kind of shift that makes you stop scrolling through your phone, that makes you rewind the broadcast footage 3 times just to make sure you saw what you thought you saw. The kind of shift that has Bears fans across the country asking themselves if what we're building here is actually sustainable, or if we're about to witness a complete dismantling of everything we thought this franchise was becoming. Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your #1 source for all the latest updates and rumors about our beloved team. I'm bringing you something today that's going to challenge everything you believed about our offensive identity, our star players, and the direction of this franchise moving forward. What I'm about to break down involves our top receiver, our franchise quarterback, and decisions that could reshape the entire trajectory of this organization for the next 5 years. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why the next few months might be the most consequential period in recent Bears history. Let me take you back to Sunday, Week 14 against the Packers, a division rivalry game that we desperately needed to win to keep our playoff hopes alive. The game came down to the final possession, 4th and 1 inside the red zone with seconds ticking away. This is the moment where legends are made, where franchise quarterbacks prove they belong, where championship dreams either live or die. Caleb Williams dropped back, surveyed the field, and made his decision. The ball sailed toward the end zone and landed in the hands of a Packers defender. Interception. Game over. Final score, 28-21 Green Bay. But here's where the story gets interesting, and here's where everything I'm about to tell you starts to make sense. The cameras panned to the sideline immediately after that interception, and what we saw told us more than any post-game interview ever could. DJ Moore, our #1 receiver, standing there with his helmet off and a look of absolute disgust plastered across his face. Not disappointment, not frustration, disgust. Now, body language on the sidelines isn't always the full story, but when you're a veteran receiver making the kind of money DJ Moore makes, when you're supposed to be a leader on this offense, that kind of visible frustration sends a message. And the message Moore was sending was crystal clear. He believed he was open on that play. He believed Caleb Williams missed him. He believed that interception happened because his quarterback didn't see what he saw, didn't trust what he trusted, didn't execute what should have been executed. In Moore's mind, that game-ending turnover was avoidable, and the fact that the ball went elsewhere while he was running his route exactly as designed was unacceptable. The tension between these two has been simmering all season, but Sunday night it boiled over for everyone to see. Monday morning, head coach Ben Johnson held his weekly press conference, and naturally the questions came immediately about Moore's reaction and the final play of the game. Johnson didn't dance around it. He addressed it head-on in a way that actually made the situation more complicated rather than less. Johnson said he didn't see Moore as being the answer on that play, that Moore came open more after the ball was already released from Caleb's hand. Think about what that means. The head coach is essentially saying that Moore's frustration is misplaced, that his read of the situation doesn't match the reality of what happened on the field. That's not a minor disagreement about route depth or timing. That's a fundamental disconnect between what a receiver thinks he's doing in the offense and what the coaching staff believes actually happened. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Moore finished that game with 1 reception for -4 yards, 1 catch, -4 yards, against a division rival in a must-win situation. And this wasn't a game where we were playing from behind the entire time and had to abandon the passing attack. This was a competitive game that came down to the final possession. Rome Odunze, our other starting receiver, missed the contest with an injury, which theoretically should have meant more targets and more opportunities for Moore. Instead, he was essentially invisible for 4 quarters. Johnson admitted he was surprised when he saw the stat sheet after the game, saying they had designed the game plan with the intention of getting Moore more involved than any other player in the offense. So what happened? How does your #1 receiver in a game where you specifically plan to feature him, end up with one catch for negative yardage? The answer to that question is what's driving everything I'm about to tell you. Ben Johnson runs an offense that's fundamentally different from what DJ Moore thrived in previously. Johnson loves 12 personnel sets with 2 tight ends on the field. He emphasizes running the football with a two-headed backfield attack. He builds his passing game off play action and designed rollouts rather than traditional drop-back passing concepts. It's an effective system, and it's won games for us this season. But it's not a system designed to feed a number 1 receiver 20 targets per game. It's not a system where one guy dominates the target share and everyone else works around him. And for a player like DJ Moore, who's used to being the focal point of an offense, who's built his career on volume and consistency, this system is frustrating. He's not getting the ball the way he expects to get it, and that frustration has been building all season long. Here's where we need to talk about the contract situation, because it's absolutely critical to understanding what might happen next. Moore is currently on a deal that made him one of the highest-paid receivers in football when he signed it. Starting in 2026, he begins a 4-year contract extension worth $110 million. That's massive money for a receiver, especially one who's tracking toward career lows in both receptions and receiving yards this season. Now, the Bears could trade Moore this offseason and save $24.5 million against the cap in each of the next 4 years. They'd take on $4 million in dead cap hits for the next 3 seasons, but that's manageable compared to the savings. That money could be used to sign an elite pass rusher, upgrade the offensive line with a franchise left tackle, or add multiple impact players across the roster. And here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking. Rome Odunze has shown in his second year that he has legitimate number 1 receiver potential. He's got the size, the route running ability, the hands, and the football IQ to be a true WR1 in this league. If Odunze continues developing the way he's been developing, DJ Moore becomes less essential to the long-term future of this offense. You could move Moore, save the cap space, invest that money in other areas of need, and roll with Odunze as your top target moving forward. It's not a popular opinion among fans who love Moore's talent and production over the years, but from a pure roster construction and salary cap management perspective, it makes sense. Now let's talk about the other elephant in the room. Caleb Williams, our franchise quarterback, the number 1 overall pick who was supposed to transform this offense and lead us to playoff contention for the next decade. Williams has shown flashes of brilliance this season, moments where you can see the talent and understand why we drafted him first overall. But he's also shown inconsistency, poor decision-making in critical moments, and an inability to consistently get the ball to his best playmakers. Against the Packers, Williams completed 19 of 35 passes for 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that crucial interception. Those aren't terrible numbers, but they're not franchise quarterback numbers either. And when your top receiver is visibly frustrated on the sideline because he doesn't think you're seeing the field correctly, that's a problem that goes beyond statistics. The relationship between a quarterback and his number 1 receiver is sacred in this league. It's built on trust, timing, and mutual understanding. When that relationship breaks down, when there's visible tension and public disagreement about reads and progressions, it creates dysfunction that spreads throughout the entire offense. Other players see it, coaches see it, opponents see it, and exploit it. And if the Bears coaching staff believes that Williams and Moore simply aren't on the same page, that they're not going to develop the kind of chemistry necessary to win at a high level, then tough decisions have to be made. You can't keep both players and hope it magically gets better. You have to choose which one is more important to your future and build around that player. Here's my read on the situation, and I want to be clear that this is analysis based on everything I've seen and heard, not confirmed reporting. I think the Bears are seriously considering trading DJ Moore this offseason. I think they believe Rome Odunze can be their WR1 moving forward. I think they want to use that cap space to address more pressing needs on the roster. And I think there's a real possibility that if Moore is traded, it opens up questions about whether Caleb Williams is actually the long-term answer at quarterback. Because if your franchise quarterback can't develop chemistry with one of the best receivers in football, if he can't consistently make the right reads and get the ball to open targets, then maybe the problem isn't the receiver. Maybe the problem is the quarterback. And that's a terrifying thought for Bears fans who've invested so much hope in Williams being the guy who finally breaks our decades-long curse at the position. But let me offer a different perspective, one that's more optimistic about where this could lead. Maybe moving on from Moore is actually the best thing for everyone involved. Moore gets to go to a team that runs an offense better suited to his skill set, a team that will feature him the way he wants to be featured. The Bears get cap relief and draft capital that they can use to build a more complete roster. Williams gets a fresh start with receivers who fit better in this offensive system, who understand the timing and concepts Johnson wants to run. And Odunze gets the opportunity to step into a true number one role and prove he belongs among the elite receivers in this league. Sometimes change is necessary for growth, and maybe this is one of those situations where everyone benefits from a clean break. The next few months are going to be absolutely critical. We'll see how the rest of this season plays out, whether Williams can develop better chemistry with his receivers down the stretch, whether Moore's frustration continues to be visible, or if he buys into his role in this offense. We'll see what happens in the offseason, whether the Bears actually pull the trigger on a trade or decide to run it back with this core group. And we'll see how the fan base reacts, because trading a player of Moore's caliber is always going to be controversial, no matter how much sense it makes from a roster construction standpoint. But one thing is certain, the status quo isn't working. Something has to change. And based on everything I'm seeing and hearing, that change might be bigger than any of us anticipated. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think the Bears should trade DJ Moore this offseason? Do you believe Caleb Williams can develop into a franchise quarterback, or are you starting to have doubts? Should we prioritize building around Williams, or should we consider all options, including moving on from him if the right opportunity presents itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I genuinely want to hear what Bears Nation is thinking right now. This is a pivotal moment for our franchise, and your perspective matters. Before we wrap up, make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell because the next few weeks are going to bring major developments, and you're going to want to be here for every update, every analysis, every breaking story. Smash that like button if you appreciate the honest, in-depth coverage, and share this video with other Bears fans who need to understand what's really happening with this team. We're in this together, and I'll be here every step of the way bringing you the truth about our beloved Bears. Let's hope for the best, but prepare for significant changes ahead. Bear down.